Hi, welcome to Ask the Oracle channel. My name is Devina, and I am so delighted to be here with you in this space where we talk about topics such as spirituality. I also do speak about political things here and there. That's not the main focus, but I do cover those things sometimes when it comes to my attention to do so. Social issues, environmental concerns, and things like that. So welcome if you're new, and if you're returning, I appreciate you so much, so thank you. Today, I actually want to talk more about some spiritual things that I'm aware of and know about based on my life experiences. I know that some of the things that I talk about might be hard to fathom. When a person doesn't understand what it is, it can be very scary. When you first experience a spirit, ghost, or, something that's shouldn't be there and it is, it can be very scary. Regardless of your age, it's just kind of weird. You're like, whoa, did that really happen? It's hard to believe, right? And then, of course, depending on who you are and how much experience you have in these matters, eventually you become aware and you have a deeper understanding of how the spirit world works and how it interacts with us in the physical world. And so these little things are not scary anymore. It becomes normal to you. Yes, it does, believe it or not. So I guess this is interesting because I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I do want to continue talking about various things. So the spirit world is something that I do have a little bit experience with. And it started when I was a kid. I want to say around 15. And that was my first, the first time I saw a spirit was when I was 15, babysitting. And I had never seen anything until that point. 15, that's, and it's interesting because that's also the number that's on the devil card in the tarot. It's number 15, and that just happened to be a year when I had like crazy activity, spiritual activity come in and just, scare me, and many experiences that one year. So I mentioned the time I was attacked in the shower by a spirit. There's no one in the room with me other than a lady that laughed and hit me on the head with a shampoo bottle. That was one. But the first experience was I was babysitting, and my mother worked for this family, and she saw them all the time in the house. She was like, there was a black shadow following the little girl around, and she saw things and had weird stuff happen in the house. Well, I didn't even think about any of that. I just was 15 years old and I needed to earn some money. So I babysat for this couple that had a lot of stuff going on. But come to find out, they were into dark magic later on. So that's why they had all these little things in their house. They invited them in. At the time, we didn't know all that. I was in this house and I felt so uncomfortable. There was an entity watching me. And I didn't want to move. Like I was like feeling like heavy, like it was staring, and I could feel it everywhere. I was like, where is this eyes? Like I could tell it didn't want me there. It was threatened by me. So I'm sitting there, and at the time I had no information. I didn't know anything about the spirit world because, we just didn't know. My mom always thought everything bad was demons, and, she was very religious, so she just thought everything was demons. But she didn't have any explanation for anything. So basically, I thought at that time that animals could see spirits and stuff. But the animals, she had a pet dog. I think I want to say it was a basset hound. And it didn't seem to notice anything. It was like, everything's fine. And I'm like, no, things aren't fine. I can feel it. And the little kids wanted me to go play with them upstairs, Barbies or something. And I just was like so uncomfortable in that house. I didn't want to move anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. I was like, just that feeling of this heavy, dark energy watching me and not liking me. It was like I could feel it, like, it just hated the fact that I was in their house. I just had pizza, and I went to put my glass in the sink, and I looked in the window from the outside, and it was dark outside. It was nighttime, and they had a light. They had a light hanging up outside. And I looked in and I saw this dark face with white eyes staring at me. It was like, I don't want you here. It was like a telepathic mind thing I heard immediately when I saw it. and then it just looked like a genie in a bottle, like a cloud went phew. But when I saw it, I jumped back and I was like, it was the first time I ever saw a disincarnated spirit. And it looked, it had a black face or a dark face. So, and it wasn't, I don't know that it was a human. I don't know that it had ever been a human. So if I were to call it a human, it would have been a very dark, like its eyes. I just remember the eyes. They were so dark. I mean, it was just like evil the way that they were shaped, and the big nose and the, you know, just with the eyes looking down at me. And so the eyes were like kind of, you know, it was just like it was kind of like a haunted entity that was just a dark face that was there because this family had brought that in because they were dabbling in dark magic. And so that was the first time, and it was when I was 15. And then the other time, like, I want to let you guys know from experience that you don't want to watch horror films if you can get past all that. I did watch all that growing up. I didn't know any better. I read Stephen King. Okay, so that's where I'm being good. Okay, so Stephen King, I have nothing against him. He's a brilliant mind. He's very creative, and he creates all these crazy things, right? And the scenarios and stories and scary, spooky stuff. But I just so happened to be reading one of his books, and so darkness loves it when you invite them in. And so how that can happen is you can invite darkness in by watching horror films, reading books that are horror, you know, dark stuff, you know, that kind of stuff. That is an invitation to let them in, whether you know it or not, it is. And so at that moment, you know, we didn't know that, you know, and there was a lot of spirit activity happening. And some people will call them poltergeists. Sure, those are real. They are there. And they serve, you know, all these different beings serve their purpose and what they do here. At the time, I didn't even put it together that this, you know, I'm inviting them in by horror movies and things like that, and being interested in that. So I was laying in my bed, and there was like a wolf all around me breathing. I had an octagon room, and I remember the windows were open and the curtains were blowing, and it was that heaviness again. It was all around me, and it was breathing like what sounded like an animal, like a vicious wolf growling. And I couldn't determine where it was coming from, but my mind's eye saw a big black wolf with red eyes. That's what the mind's eye saw, okay? Because I didn't actually see the wolf, but when I closed my eyes, the being that appeared in my head was that. And I remember laying there like, what should I do? Because, you know, I didn't know. And then I could see flashing lights, like a circle in my room, like there was a flashing fairy of light or something just flashing and moving around. And I didn't really know what to do, but I decided not to just do anything. I decided to just lay there and let it go away and go to sleep. I didn't tell anybody. Well, that night, I believe my sister, she had come into my room and said something touched me on the butt. So whatever was in our house that evening decided it wanted to, you know, not just bug me, but it went to my sister in the other room. And I told her, I'm like, yeah, you know, something's bothering me too. And so I don't know, because like I said, this isn't something I wrote it down. I'm going off memory. So I don't know if this occurrence I'm about to tell you happened that night or if it happened another night. But it was all within the same time frame. So I woke up in the middle of, well, no, I was sleeping. And in my sleep, I was dreaming that something lifted me out of the bed, and I'm floating through the sky. Like I'm laying, like hanging, like laying, and I'm floating, and my feet were not touching the ground. And it felt so real. And so I move out of the room and I'm floating down the hallway, and all of a sudden I hit the ground and I almost got out of breath. Like I hit the ground so hard on my back flat because I wasn't walking, and I woke up startled, like what in the hell? And I remember thinking, well, this is strange. How did I end up here? I was dreaming, but that wasn't real. Couldn't be real. That's not possible. And so I woke up in the other part of the house on the floor, and I got up, and it was kind of weird. Like, I remember thinking, this is so weird. And so I don't know exactly what that is. Someone told me that maybe they were trying to abduct me or something. I don't know. But all I know is that the spirits can do these things. We don't know. They do have some power. They also don't have power. So it's one of those weird things, kind of like, human beings. Like, if you're not afraid of them, they can't hurt you. They have no fear. They have no, it's like, fairy tale, a story, whatever, where you stand up to the giant because you're not afraid, because their fear isn't, like, it's an illusion, and, all of that. And it just, somehow you're so much stronger if you have no fear, right? And that just goes for courage anyway, and what that looks like. But, no fear, but then also, they don't have a lot of power in, some of them don't. Some of them are very strong, but a lot of them will have to call in a whole bunch in order to do anything anyways. And then we're not talking about aliens, we're talking about spiritual things, beings that, usually there's more than one that hang out. It's just like people. I'm not going to go into all the stories of that my experience. I'm just going to tell you right now about the spiritual nature of how they interact with us and their dimension and ours, and I think what I'm trying to do really is I wanted to just pick up kind of where I deleted this video, and I don't even know how people got it. I decided to put it in private, and then 16 people viewed it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I hid that video. I didn't want anyone to see that video because I didn't feel like I was explaining things correctly. I was likening, what I had done in the video was I was likening monitor spirits to smart technology, smartphones, and the things that, hear us when we think we're private, when we're talking to somebody or texting, or, how all of a sudden we have all these ads pop up about something, and I swear, like, I didn't look that up in Google. I was talking about it, and the next day, that's in my feed, my news feed, and I'm thinking, wow, how the heck? This phone is just, but somebody said that's the way Google is, so maybe that is Google's way of trying to get into our business and think it's helping us, when I'm not sure. But anyways, so the monitoring spirits are not necessarily good. They're the ones that want to come in and wreak havoc on the plans, the divine plan. So if you're about to receive a blessing, they come in to scare the crap out of you, or, stop the good things in your life, because that's their job. That's what they do. So be aware of that. I mentioned in my video that, animals, cats are they're where the witches always had cats and stuff. And I'm not saying I'm a witch, but, I might have been accused of one in another life or something, but, and I don't have any bad ideas about it, except for there's always, light and dark side. So, what side are you on, regardless of labels and so on. But, yeah, so I was talking about how cats will sense spirits. So the monitoring spirits that come to view and to spy on you and relay information, to somebody who doesn't have good intentions, or they have ill will. You got to be careful. You got to block those out. Now, I didn't say how to do it, but just like, with technology, got to be careful what you share, what information, if you don't want something in your business that doesn't belong there, and with bad intentions as well. I'm not saying Google has bad intentions, but I don't feel comfortable, like, with some entity always having so much power and knowing everything about us, right? That can't be good either. But anyway, so you got to block that out somehow. You have to put up your shield around your home. A lot of times too, these, you'll hear us talk about saging. Now, I have another story about the saging stuff. Now, it works, but it's a temporary fix, right? Excuse me, I'll get a drink. So it's a temporary thing. Saging is only temporary, and you know that. You do it, they leave, they come back sometimes, depending on your situation. Now, if it's something that lives in your home, it'll come back. Now, if it's something that doesn't live in your space, then don't worry, it's, you know, passing, whatever. But you're gonna have to get rid of whatever might be in your home that's taking up space in your attic, in another dimension that's there, comes and monitors you, and, you know, there to wreak havoc and cause problems if you do indeed have any of those. Now, those would require spiritual guidance, a team of light beings on the other side helping you as well. But it would also require you to be the one or hire somebody who is the spiritual person who could get them out if you're not the one to do it. What you'll have to do there is you'll have to set your intention to do it in a loving way, not an angry way, but it's a transmuted thing, and they won't like it. They might even growl at you, as they did me when I had to get some out of the house. And they ended up killing my rabbit. And I asked Spirit, I'm like, well, why? What did I do wrong? And I heard that I didn't do it in love. I was doing it in anger. I thought that's a weird thing, you know, of course I was angry. I wanted these beings that had been in my house for 2 years or however long at the time, because I just tried not to address them. I ignored them until they hurt one of my children. One of them, the big one, he looked like Voldemort with possum teeth, and he was like that. And then he had there was one real skinny, dark, and then there was another one that was really short, like a troll. He had a troll voice. I know, it sounds crazy, but I heard them. They were monitoring me, and I heard him say, "She's in here." And they walked through the window. They walked through the window in my room, and I could hear them. They were there. Anyway, one time my sister stayed the night at her house, and these entities whispered in her ear, really nasty, nasty voice, Your dad ain't your bitch. You know, the voices. I've heard them inside people. I've heard them take over people, and the person's talking, and it's a demon in them. The voice, I believe, oh my God, I've had so much interaction with these things throughout my lifetime that I really don't want to see them again. I'm good. No more. Get away. Get away from me. Yeah, no, and I'm going to probably write about it, but because I think it's important for people to understand how that works if they're faced with these things. They're real. But anyway, so they usually have more than one. And because, like I said, they're not very powerful on their own, most of them, and they require backup, and they will call in as many as they can, the hero, to come to try to, attack the light, and they can't. That's another thing. The light is so powerful that you put up your shield of light around you. If you've ever heard of the violet flame of St Germaine, it's a frequency. It's a very powerful. And then there's like the golden light, the frequencies that you can use and put it into your field around you. Activate it. Excuse me. Activate it. Activate the light within, and call in the like this. For instance, I'm just going to show you an example. I call in the violet flame of St Germaine to surround me, to purify, and to protect as far out as it needs to go. You don't have to know. You just set your intention. And you believe that's there, and you'll see that when you don't have any holes in your aura, you'll feel stronger, you'll feel less interference, there will be a little bit of an energy shift whenever you're, in your top. You don't have the holes and stuff where things can get in and latch on and disturb you and do things like that. And so that's one technique you can definitely use to put your shields around you. And you've got to probably do this on a regular basis, and that will help. So that's one thing I just wanted to share with you today. And I do have more stories. I don't really feel like talking about everything in one video. It's a lot to think about. But there's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, they are there. As long as you know you're protected and safe, they can't do anything. And there was years I was always wondering, like, why have these spirits beings bothered me my entire life? Why did they get in people to attack me my whole life? Well, that one, I think I figured that one out recently. You know, I mentioned that maybe I had a little bit of karma, but I don't think that was this whole thing. I think that's some work that I have been doing, that transmuting some stuff. Some people are able to go really dark. They can see through the darkness. And those people, you know, they might attract that. I don't want to attract it. I don't anymore. I haven't had anything in years, like I said, except for I did have a gremlin come and disturb, but that was allowed. So everything, so that's another thing. We got to remember these things. These things happen for lessons. Lessons. What did we get? What was the lesson in that story? Why did I go through that shit? I'm just giving you an example. Why? What did I learn? Whew. Well, I learned that it's not all love and light, that we live in a world of duality. And in this world of duality, we have to be able to discern, is this good for me? Is this going to hurt me? What's the intention behind this one? What do they want from me? What are you? Who are you? What do you want? And it can be fooled. We can be fooled easily. That's the thing, is if we're not listening to our intuition, trusting our divine, knowing, claircognizance, clairvoyance, seeing, and we see things like red flags, like, okay, I see that. I'm like, whoa, I thought that person would be past this already. They haven't got past that. Whew, okay, maybe I need to back up a bit and make some space. Maybe they're not who I thought they were. I'm just giving you examples here. And just realize too, this is something I had to learn. And I did the same thing, because everything is like a mirror. So I was showed what I was doing too. Is like projections, like we project what we want to be. It isn't always who we are, okay? Unless we've done the inner work, we may not be who we're projecting, and we don't know that. We don't know we're not the person we pretend to be, because we think we are. Like I said, the ego mind, it can fool us. It can fool us and make us think we're more, or we're somewhere else. And so being in the present moment, in reality is this, and then we think we're here, and we're, you know what I'm saying? The ego does that. It can really fool with us and mess us up a little bit if we aren't aware of ourselves and to know ourselves in and out, right? Know yourself is really a powerful thing. So anyway, just wanted to share the stories of the spirits and how you do have them out there, and just to know that not everything is love and light. You've got to protect yourself, believe it or not. Some people will say no, you don't. But I think that at some point when your energy shifts, you're automatically, but that doesn't mean they can't come into your house in some way. So that's where you'll want to make sure you put a conscious barrier. People who are trying to see what you're doing, whoever those people might be that have no business prying and looking into your life, those kind of things, you're going to have to set up your own template of what they're going to see when they come look at you. If they don't have permission to be spying on you, then you're going to have to deal with your imagination and put up a shield of what it is. The shield might be a dark veil. It could be a veil of the galaxy. It could be any number of things that you put up around yourself to keep out the monitoring spirits that have no business in your business. So I just wanted to share this video, and for whoever needed to hear a short little clip on the spirit world, make sure that you share, like, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this little video. And until we meet again, I hope you have a blessed day.